Secrets are about to come to light and lives change forever in Coronation Street as the true secrets of Stu's, Bill Fellows' past leave Yasmeen Nazir, Shelley King, rocked to the core. As their relationship is shattered to the core, there is even more at stake as the repercussions of his history reverberate around the street. Elsewhere, relations between Sally and Tim Metcalf, Sally Dinover and Joe Duttine, are strained, but is he seeking solace in the wrong place? And Ryan Connor, Ryan Prescott, feels the long arm of the law after taking a big, and misguided, risk in a robbery. Monday, August 1st. In the bistro, Debbie instructs Ryan to stage a break-in and then she can make a claim on the insurance. But later when Debbie tells Ryan the robbery is off, Ryan's furious. With casino night underway, Ryan tells Debbie that he's going to fuse the electrics and grab the cash from the safe. Suddenly the bistro is plunged into darkness. Debbie reluctantly helps with Ryan's plan. As the bistro customers file into the Rovers, Ryan stuffs the cash in his gym bag but Leanne arrives. Ryan hides while Leanne flicks the switch and the lights come back on. Ryan, clutching his bag of stolen cash, comes out from his hiding place and makes out he's just arrived. Leanne heads back to the Rovers to tell the customers that casino night is back on. Ryan assures Debbie that the cash is stashed in his bedroom. Later, Leanne is horrified to discover all the money gone. Debbie orders Ryan to call the police. At number 4, Sally discovers Tim has been looking at porn sites. Sally orders Tim to go to the casino night on his own. When he returns home, he finds a note from Sally telling him that she's made up the spare bed for him. Ken approaches Wendy and invites her for a coffee. At number 1, Ken invites Wendy to share his lasagna and tells her he knows what it's like to be lonely as he still misses Deirdre. Sally suggests Faye should consider HRT, but she's not keen. Aaron calls at the flower shop flat and tells Summer that he'd still like to go on holiday but on condition she gets some counseling and deals with her body image issues. Sean attempts to cook a roast to impress Dylan but when he receives a text from Dylan telling him that he's gone for a pizza with his mates, Sean serves up the overcooked pork to Eileen, George and Todd. George takes a bite and is alarmed to realize he's broken a tooth. Wednesday, August 3rd. Craig questions Debbie, Leanne and Nick about the break-in then calls into the Rovers and questions Ryan. Ed reveals that the CCTV has a backup circuit and won't have been affected by the power cut. Leanne, Nick, Debbie and Ronnie watch as Craig presses play on the CCTV. They see that Ryan is the perpetrator. Ryan is arrested on suspicion of theft. Later, Ronnie accuses Debbie of orchestrating an insurance scam. Debbie denies it, but will Ronnie believe her lies? Ryan undergoes a police interview. Ryan calls Debbie from the police station and threatens to drop her in it. What will Debbie do? Ryan realizes he's lost everything. Tim attempts to make peace with Sally, but Sally accuses Tim of shutting her out and suggests they have some time apart. Tim begs Sally not to give up on him. In Victoria Garden, Tim unburdens himself to Aggie and Aggie urges him to share his worries with Sally. Tim returns home and tells Sally about his fear of dying. Sally wonders what made him finally realize and Tim fails to mention Aggie. George promises Eileen that he'll see the dentist, but Mr. Pugh's funeral must come first. A guy called Troy approaches George, but having discovered that Troy works for the opposition and was hoping to buy the business, George tries to wrestle his notebook from him. As the two men grapple on the cobbles, Mrs. Pugh arrives and watches with disapproval. Todd confronts George with the written offer from Rest Easy of £400,000. Is George tempted to sell after all? When Leo reveals that he's looking for laborers, Daniel offers up his services to Daisy's amusement. Suki from the Gazette calls at speed dial and interviews Yasmeen, Stu, Dev and Alia about their food waste initiative. When Stu reveals that Yasmeen offered him a lifeline when he was homeless, Suki's enthralled. Friday, August 5th. Stu's mortified to see that he's front and center of the Gazette article. Later, Stu's horrified to see his ex-wife, Lucy, at speed dial. Lucy orders Stu to stay away from Bridget and drops a bombshell secret from Stu's past. As Lucy strides out, Stu protests his innocence. Yasmeen orders him out of the restaurant. Yasmin catches up with Lucy in Victoria Garden. What does Lucy tell her? George arrives at the undertaker's for Mr. Pugh's funeral and reveals that he has taken Eileen's strong painkillers to ease his toothache, but Todd realizes he's as high as a kite. Todd shoves George into one of the funeral cars. As Mrs. Pugh gives Todd the third degree, George's sister, Glenda, arrives and, clocking George asleep in the back of the funeral car, quickly takes charge of the proceedings. As Glenda, Todd and Sean celebrate how well the funeral went, George arrives. He's thrilled to see his sister and introduces Glenda to Eileen. Daniel spends the night at the Rovers, but wakes up at 3 a.m. and is taken aback to come face to face with Leo, suited and booted. Daniel tells Daisy about how it's obvious Leo's hiding something from Jenny. Having found out from Paul that it's Leo's last day in his job, Daniel shares the information with Daisy. Daisy tells Jenny about Leo's suspicious behavior. Over dinner in the bistro, Leo reveals all. What has he been hiding? In the street, Nick tells Ryan he's got 24 hours to return the cash or he'll make sure the police throw the book at him. Debbie has a plan. Ryan assures Debbie that he told the police that he was coerced into the robbery by some dodgy blokes who threatened to kill him. In Victoria Garden, Aggie hands Tim a book about death and urges him to read it. Sally's proud that he's tackling his problems head-on and Tim fails to mention that it was Aggie's suggestion.